Hey guys, welcome to Angie's Corner. I'm Angie. I am a military spouse, specifically an Army military spouse, and here on my channel I like to cover various military topics. Now, as you can tell from the title of the video today, we are going to be discussing acronyms. I swear there's nothing worse than when you're talking to someone from the military community and you literally cannot understand what they're saying, because the military lingo is all acronyms, I swear. So today, I decided, you know what, let's go over some broad acronyms, okay? Some broad terminology that will help you understand what people are talking about. Now keep in mind, this is not all military acronyms. These are not all the acronyms. I'm just going to discuss some that I'm aware of, that I have used or am using on a daily basis. But do keep in mind that each MOS, so each job that you have, you're going to have various acronyms that apply only to your job. For example, I asked my husband to try and help me with some acronyms. I wrote down the ones that I was aware of, but it's kind of difficult for him because he uses acronyms on a daily basis, but they only have to do with his job. So there was no point in him trying to put in his 2 cents because they literally only relate to his job. Anyways, so let's just get right to it. I do have a whole entire list down on my lap, so if I happen to look down, that's why I'm looking down. All right, so first and foremost, let's just do some that are just kind of basic knowledge. When you're first joining the military, these are the ones that you kind of want to know. We have BCT, which is Basic Combat Training. This is the first training that you are sent out to when you join the military. Well, I'm talking specifically Army. So when you ship out for Army, you first go to BCT. Next, we have AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training. So that's the second thing that you're shipped out to. It's your second training that you have. MOS, which stands for Military Occupational Specialty. So when you get shipped out to your AIT, you get shipped out based on what your MOS is. So each MOS has a different location where you will get shipped out to. Next, we have OPSEC, which is Operational Security. We have ASVAB. Now, ASVAB stands for Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. If you don't know what the ASVAB is, it's the exam that you take before joining the military. It's all branches. You have to take the ASVAB and you look at what your scores are. Depending on your scores, when it comes to the Army, it kind of depends what MOS you can qualify for. So you do want to make sure that you do as good of a job as you can. I mean, if you don't do that great, it's not a big deal, honestly. There's just, like I said, different qualifying scores for different types of jobs. Next, we have PT. You're gonna have PT every single morning. That is physical training. We have the PX, which is the post-exchange. It's just so much easier to just say PX. On the side of the building, it always just says exchange. It doesn't say post-exchange. So it's just so much faster. It rolls off the tongue when you just say, hey, I gotta go to the PX. Next, we have the DFAC, which is the dining facility. AFES, which is Armed and Air Force Exchange Service Agency of DoD. So AFES, they are in charge of the exchange. So the exchange falls under AFES. So anytime you also have any of the small shopettes that are exchanged, that is part of AFES. Anytime you have a food court and you have like Popeyes, Starbucks, Taco Bell, things like that, that all falls under AFES. And I know about AFES because I've worked for AFES. Next, you have MEPS. MEPS stands for Military Entrance Processing Station. You go to MEPS before you ship out to basic training. In my case, I didn't actually go to a MEPS. Everything was done in-house because we are located overseas. So my experience is going to be completely different. And so I have no idea what to expect because I only know what to expect if we were stateside. Next, we have DoD, which stands for Department of Defense. And lastly, we have, well, in this category. Lastly, we have POV, which is a privately owned vehicle. So for example, when we were moving across seas, we had to ship a vehicle, our vehicle. So they would say, ship your POV. They use that term all the time. These are some, I have 4 that are kind of like, you might not use all the time, but I mean, I guess in writing, you might use these. We have AD, which stands for active duty, a lot of times on spouse pages. If somebody wants to ask a specific question and they want to specify if the spouse is active duty, reserves, or if they are active duty, reserve, whatever the situation is, you know. AWOL, which actually stands for absent without leave. Here in the military, if you want to not be present for something, you have to get leave, and leave has to be approved. Obviously, if you don't get leave and you don't show up, you're AWOL. This next one, I didn't really know what it stood for, but I knew it was military related. But you know how you've seen those flags? It's a black flag. It's a black flag, and it has a person on there, and it has POW MIA. That stands for Prisoner of War Missing in Action. I actually had no idea what it stood for until I met my husband and he told me. So if you didn't know, now you know. Next we have FTR, which is failed to return. It's not really something that I don't think you're going to use, but I just put it down in case you did. So next category, I kind of have like chain of command. First you have your CO, which is your commanding officer. Then you have your NCO, which is a non-commissioned officer. So that's a sergeant and above, or an E5 and above. XO is your executive officer. All right, next we kind of have like the middle life paperwork terminology. There is LES, which is your leave and earnings statement. This is a statement that you will be getting bi-weekly every time you get paid. It helps you understand how your money is distributed and where it's going, and how much you're earning overall, obviously. Next, point of contact, which is POC. DEERS. DEERS is such a pain in the butt, but it stands for Defense Enrollment Eligibility Reporting System. So if you are a single soldier right now and you get married, you have to put your spouse into DEERS so that they can get a military ID. Same if you have a baby, you need to make sure that you input them into DEERS because all of that affects how you get paid. So it is a very important system. It is a very annoying system when you have to go there because wait times tend to usually be pretty long, and you usually have to wait a long time to do something that takes maybe 5 minutes to get done. So just be prepared if you have to go to DEERS. You're going to spend a good amount of time there. And then next I have TSP and BRS. I do not know much information about this, but I think I will do a video on it, kind of comparing the two. TSP is Thrift Savings Plan, and it's the retirement and investment plan, kind of like a 401k, but that is the old system. So my husband, he's under the old system, the TSP, and the BRS is Blended Retirement System. That is the new system that they have for retirement and savings. That's the one that I'm going to be under. So I think I'm going to look up more information on both of them so I can better understand the differences between the two and make a video on it so that you guys can understand the differences between the two. All right, next we have BAH, which is Basic Allowance for Housing, COLA, Cost of Living Allowance, BAS, Basic Allowance for Subsistence, OHA, Overseas Housing Allowance. I will actually go over all of those terminologies, what it actually means, how the military gets paid, and all of that. So I have a video that's coming out on that so you can better understand those terminologies. Next, we have MACP, which stands for Married Army Couples Program. So when you're dual military, what you have to do is the spouse that's currently in, they have to go to MACP and put their other spouse's name. And then me, once I graduate basic and I go off to AIT, I do the same thing with my husband. Basically what it ensures, or it tries to ensure, is that both of you are stationed close to one another. They can't guarantee that you're going to be on the same post. I believe it's supposed to be within 50 miles of one another. I almost said 50 feet. Within 50 miles of one another. With this also, it just also ensures that you guys are on the same rotation when it comes to orders, because my husband, his orders are on a different rotation than mine is going to be. So they might have to extend his time here so that we do end up being on the same cycle. I'm pretty sure with MACP, you can also try to choose to be deployed at the same time. This is good when you have children so that you guys can be gone at the same time, so that maybe it's not you're only with one parent for X amount of months and then you're only with the other. But from what I've heard, they're not really good in regards to deployment being at the same time. But we don't have kids right now, so I'm not too worried about that. But it is supposed to be, I'm pretty sure, a part of that. Next, we have EFMP, which is Exceptional Family Member Program. I had to do my EFMP before we moved out over here. The way that it works is they just basically check your health, do all the things that they have to do for you, and make sure that you are allowed to go overseas. If one of your family members that is going to be PCSing with you, that's on your orders, happens to have some kind of medical necessities, I guess you can say, you need to make sure that wherever you go, you have access to the doctors that you need. So that's why they have to do EFMP, that you have to go through the whole entire process to make sure that your health is up to standard. And if it's not, and you need a special doctor, wherever you're going, they do have those doctors available to you. All right, next we have FRG, which I know I've mentioned before. It's the Family Readiness Group. It's all spouses from the same company that your husband is in. They're supposed to be there as a support system and whatnot. Next we have JAG, which is Judge Advocate Generals. This is pretty much your lawyers. If you're going through something in the military and you need a lawyer, you go to JAG. MRE, Meal Ready to Eat. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. MP, which is Military Police. Out here in Germany, we also have SP, which is Security Police. I don't know the difference between them. I don't know. They both wear the cuff things on their arms. And they are both police officers, so I don't know. I'll just be honest, I really don't know. Okay, next we have PCS. That is Permanent Change of Station. So when you get new orders to go to your next duty station, you say that you are PCSing. So we use that terminology all the time. I don't think anybody ever clarifies what it means. Everyone pretty much in the military community knows PCS means you're moving. All right, next we have TDY, which is Temporary Duty Travel. So out here, I know hubby has the option to do TDY because there are other countries in our vicinity. So if you choose, from what he's told me, you have to actually sign up to do TDY. I don't know, because he hasn't done it yet, which I was very surprised about. But yeah, TDY is only temporary. It's not like a deployment where it's super long. It's pretty short. If somebody needs help somewhere, you do the TDY, you go there, you help them with what they need to get done, and then you come back home. Diddy. A Diddy move is a do-it-yourself move, which PPM is pretty much the same thing. It's personally procured move. So when you do those, you choose to not have the military move you. You say that you want to do it yourself. So you have to get the trucks yourself, you have to get the boxes yourself, you have to pack everything yourself, pack it into the thing, move the truck from point A to point B, do all of that good stuff. And from my understanding, you do get reimbursed all the money from your move. We did not do a Diddy move or a PPM. I mean, granted, our move was overseas. This is only our second duty station, so it was very different for us. But yeah, you are able to move yourself from one place to another. But if you choose that you want the Army to do it, the Army will send the truck with the movers and the boxes. They'll do like an estimate. They'll like look through your house and be like, okay, this is the estimate, you know, how much truck space they need. They bring all the necessities and they take care of everything. So some people prefer diddy moves. Other people don't prefer diddy moves. You just have to keep in mind that valuables you want to make sure that you have on your person, because of course you have to watch out in case there's unloyal people. Unfortunately, it does happen. The good thing about movers is if you get good movers, they know how to pack fragile items. But you might also be cursed and have people who don't know how to pack fragile items, and then you end up with broken stuff. But again, you can claim the stuff that was broken and you get a certain amount reimbursed for it. I feel like that's a whole entire video in of itself, to be honest. Next, I have CONUS and OCONUS. So CONUS is continental United States, and OCONUS is outside continental United States. So when we were having our move, we were having an OCONUS move. Whereas if you're moving, let's just say from Virginia to South Carolina, that's CONUS. Pretty sure if you're moving over to Hawaii, that is actually technically considered OCONUS because it's not within the mainland. Not sure about Alaska. I would assume Alaska is also OCONUS, but I could be wrong. I'm not too sure. But yeah, so when somebody, like when I talk about it, I'll say I'm not stateside, or I could say I'm OCONUS, depending on who I'm talking to. Usually I'll just use the word stateside, which just means part of the mainland. All right. And then lastly, I'm just gonna go over the different shorter versions that they have of your ranks. You are not going to physically say these shorter versions, but you will see it in writing all the time, whether you're getting a text, whether you're reading a post, whether you're reading a piece of paper. Whatever the case is, you will see anybody and everybody's rank shortened. I don't think they're ever going to have it the longhand, because it's just so much faster to just write literally 3 letters. So I'll give you the different ones that they have so you also understand what they are. So for enlisted, we have private. There's 2 of them. There's E1, which is just private, and then there's E2, which is PV2. But they're both, when you call them by their name, it's just private. Then you have private first class, specialist, corporal, sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant first class, master sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, command sergeant major, and sergeant major of the Army. Next, we have the officer ranks. There's second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, colonel, brigade general, lieutenant general, general, general of the Army. Granted, general of the Army is a 5-star position. It is not one that has a person in the position currently. It's been used very infrequently in the past, but it is still a part of the ranking system of the United States Army. If the way that that specific rank works is whether, if the angle is different, it's because I knocked my phone down. As I was saying, General of the Army is not a position that is currently taken. The way that it works is POTUS, so President of the United States, has to appoint a general to the General of the Army position. It's only been used a few times in the past, but it is a position that's out there, if need be. Lastly, I wanted to go over the warrant officer ranks. So you have Warrant Officer 1, Chief Warrant Officer 2, Chief Warrant Officer 3, Chief Warrant Officer 4, And lastly, as my husband calls it, the unicorns, Chief Warrant Officer 5. So I think that's all of the acronyms that I wanted to cover today. Like I said, there is still so many more acronyms, okay? This is really just brushing over the absolute basics. I probably even missed some. If I missed any of them and you know more, drop them down in the comments below so that other people can see them and understand what they are. And like I mentioned before, every MOS is going to have their own set of acronyms. For example, my husband, his job has their own acronyms. The job that I'm going to have has their own acronyms. And we're not even going to be using the same ones. I'm sure there's going to be a whole entire list of all kinds that he's not even going to understand what they mean. So just keep that in mind. These ones, honestly, like as a spouse, from a spouse's perspective, these are enough to understand what is going on. Until they start talking about job-related things, then you're just kind of like, but like I said, these are the basics. If you know at least these basics, you will understand so much. You will be so glad. Anyways, if you like this video, It really does not cost you anything. Just like it. It really helps me out. Leave a comment down below. Just about anything if you want. You can even just say hi. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. Share this video. Tell your friends about this video. If you are a spouse and this has helped you, tell me down below. Tell me if this helped you or not. And yeah, that's it for today. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Okay. I gotta find my place. MP before we move. Oh my god, I can't talk. Lastly, I wanted to go over the warrant officer